Welcome to Tuesday Talks with Adrienne Miller here on Facebook Live in the New Life Program Connections Women for Sobriety group. Uh, Happy Tuesday. Lovely to see you guys today. And tonight we are talking about Statement 10. All love given returns. I am learning to know that I am loved. And this is one of those statements that I really didn't like at first. I didn't feel like I was lovable. I didn't feel a lot of love from others, even though I had plenty of love. But this is one that I struggled with in the beginning. So if you are struggling with this one, know that you are not alone. So, first, our history lesson. This is an interesting one. I'm such a nerd. So, this one was first published as All Love Given Returns Twofold. I'm not quite sure how that math works, but for many years, this statement was all love given returns twofold. And in 1983, of course, the thought actions were printed for the first time. And at that time, the thought action was printed as I will learn to know that others love me. Now, in December of 1986, and you guys might remember this from Statement 7. Oh, thank you, Lynn. You might remember this from Statement 7 that in December 1986, some statements changed. And this one changed from all love given returns twofold to love given to others is returned in many ways. No explanation, no reasoning, just all of a sudden appeared differently. Love given to others is returned in many ways, which I kind of like, actually. I kind of like that one. But anyways, in February of 1987, so 2 months later, just like Statement 7, she undid the change, didn't say a word why. So it went back to all love given returns twofold, no mention. She addressed some of the other changes that she had made, but 7 and 10, she just switched right back to what they used to be and was done with it. So it wasn't until September of 1989 that the current version, All Love Given Returns, appeared in the Sobering Thoughts newsletter. So I tried to go back to see like when that change was made, and there was a bunch of months there where they didn't print the full statements. So I don't know exactly when that change was made. But in September of 1989, it did appear as All Love Given Returns without that twofold. And of course, that's how it is today. All Love Given Returns. And in the 2017 program booklet update, we did tweak it just a little bit, just the thought action. So rather than I will learn to know that others love me, we put it in the present tense to be consistent with the other ones. And so it became I am learning to know that I am loved. I really like that. So it currently stands as all love given returns. I am learning to know that I am loved. And so this is one that some people struggle with, like I said. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about why do we need this statement. And I think a lot of us come to recovery feeling super, super unlovable, right? And if we think about the way that women tend to internalize guilt and shame in addiction, we think of ourselves as often, not always, but often, we think of ourselves as bad people, or I did something wrong, or there's something wrong with me to have developed an addiction or a substance use disorder. So I think this statement is really important to learn not only the self-love that we need to learn, but also to accept love from others again, because we just felt so unlovable for so long. At least that was my experience and the experience of many people that I've heard. The other thing that I like about it is it doesn't say like who returns the love, right? And that's kind of why I like that 1986 revision of love given to others is returned in many ways, because it really took it out of like all love given returns, right? So we've all had the experience where we've loved someone else maybe a lot more than they deserved, and they did not love us back, right? I think probably most human beings have had that experience, where we have either like or love someone so much and those feelings aren't returned. And so, what I like about the 2-month revision was love is returned in many ways. And sometimes I dare say that when I love others, it helps me love myself a little bit more. We're going to look at that just a little bit more in our Adrienne's pragmatic tips for applying statement 10. But so if you've loved others and they didn't love you back, and so you say, this statement isn't true because I love so and so so much and they never love me back. Well, it doesn't promise you that love is going to return from the source you gave it to. It's just kind of saying if you put love out into the world, you're going to get love back. And that's how I take this statement. We also need to talk about, I think, a little bit about the different types of love, right? So this is not about romantic love. This statement is not. I mean, maybe that was the intention, but I've never seen this as being about romantic love, right? We have familial love. We have the love of friends. We have the love of self. We have one of my favorite memes that's been coming out is a sign that says, I love you. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking I don't even know you. But if people can hate for no reason, then I can love for no reason. And I just love that we can love strangers just because they're humans and we can still send them love. And that's a big part of a lot of the meta meditations that I mentioned. I mentioned a little bit about meta meditation at the end of Statement 7's talk. And so we can send love out, and that's part of that. So we can send love out to everyone. We don't need a reason to love someone. We can just love everyone. And then the love that comes up in our first tip that I have really learned, and what I really clung to in the beginning, was love from pets. Oh my gosh, I know we have a dog trainer in the audience tonight. Gosh, if you ever wanted to know about just pure, unadulterated, unconditional love, if you've got a pet, you know that feeling. So love can come in so many different forms. It's not just about romantic love or spouses or anything like that. So what are our pragmatic, what do you do tips to implement this statement and to get this statement and to learn to integrate it into your life? So Jean was a big fan of lists. I'm a big fan of journaling. So number one tip is to just make a list. I call it the I am loved list. So write a list of all the people, present and past. Include pets. Include that bird who comes to your hummingbird feeder every day. Make a list of everyone and everything that loves you. Living or dead, past or present, right? And just remind yourself of the ways that you are loved. So that's the I am loved list. And the next list is the I am lovable list. So this is a list of all the things that is lovable about you, all the things that are lovable about you. So I'm funny. I cook great pad thai. I I bring you chicken soup when you're sick. Whatever things you think, whatever your qualities are that you think are lovable, and you probably have a lot of them, and maybe you're just not very in touch with them. So think about all the things that make you lovable. If that's too difficult, there's a sub suggestion here. And so if it's too hard for you to think about things about yourself that are lovable, try like thinking of your best friend or your cousin or a family member or someone, and write down their lovable qualities. Write down all the things you love about them. And then take a moment and look through that list and star or indicate or examine to see if any of those things could apply to you. Because it might be easier to spot those qualities and to come up with those qualities in someone else, but chances are at least a few of them would apply to you as well, right? Being thoughtful or being caring or whatever. So if making a list of your lovable qualities is too much, make a list of someone else's lovable qualities and see if any of those apply to you. Another way to really practice this statement, and something that was really helpful to me in my sobriety, was giving, volunteering. And, volunteer to help a friend with a household task they're having a hard time doing, running them on an errand if they don't have a car, or volunteer for a nonprofit or charity, or maybe your church or whatever. So just giving your time and giving yourself can really bring a feeling of love. And even though it's you're giving to someone else, like you're putting that love out, it's an act of love, it's an act of service, and you will feel it back. At least I always do. So, and then our last tip for the night is to really think about what is love. Because we say this word and a lot of people will say on the phone, okay, love you, bye. What does that really mean? And take some time in your journal or during a meditation or when you're stuck in traffic and just think about what what does love really mean to you? How do you show your love to others? And how do you recognize love? There's a great book about the 5 love languages and the different ways that people give and receive love, like acts of service or through words, or I don't know them all. I can't name them all. But, um, some people show love in very different ways. So, kind of thinking about that. How can you recognize and give love? If you're really at a loss, ask some friends and family. How do they show love? How do they feel like? How do they feel love? How do they receive it? So you might be a little bit surprised to hear what different people think and what their interpretation of love is. So that is it. Those are my tips, our history lesson on the history of Statement 10 and why this is important. Um, you are loved. I'm going to go ahead and love you. I don't even know you, probably, but I'm going to go ahead and love you because if people can hate for no reason, I can love for no reason. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you are interested in sharing a bit about your story, please volunteer to be the next person on Tuesday Talks and share your story. And Judith would love to hear from you and get you set up. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night. Bye bye.